We've spent countless hours meticulously recreating 20 iconic figures of the early World Cup era. Lucien Laurent, Giuseppe Meazza, Leônidas da Silva, and many more now appear as if photographed today. Lifelike, vivid, unforgettable. Heroes, pioneers, legends, tragic figures, watch and decide for yourself. Who should we resurrect next? Drop your suggestions in the comments below. So sit back, relax, and step into the golden age of football reborn. Number 1. Lucien Laurent. On July 13, 1930, in Montevideo, a French factory worker changed football forever. In the 19th minute against Mexico, Lucien Laurent volleyed home, the first goal in World Cup history. Born near Paris in 1907, he was an amateur who worked for Peugeot. To him, the goal was nothing special. War followed. As a prisoner of war in Saxony, he lost many belongings, including his World Cup shirt. He lived to 97, the last of France's 1930 squad, the first scorer. Number 2. Bert Patenaude. Born in Fall River, Massachusetts, in 1909, Bert Patenaude was an American goal scorer in an age when few Americans were known worldwide in the game. At the 1930 World Cup, against Paraguay, he scored 3, the first hat trick in World Cup history. But the record was lost in confusion. One goal was credited elsewhere, and for 76 years, the honor went to another man. Finally, in 2006, FIFA set it right. The first World Cup hat trick was his. History corrected. Number 3. Guillermo Stábile. Born in Buenos Aires in 1905, the center forward they nicknamed El Filtrador, the infiltrator, announced himself with a hat trick on his World Cup debut, one of the earliest ever scored in the tournament. 8 goals in just 4 games, making him the first World Cup top scorer. He even struck in the 1930 final, but Uruguay won 4-2. Then he vanished from the national team, having scored in every game he played for Argentina. He returned as manager. 6 South American titles. Number 4. Héctor Castro. Born in Montevideo in 1904, Héctor Castro lost his right forearm to an electric saw at just 13. They called him El Divino Manco, the divine one-armed. It never slowed him. In 1930, on home soil, he scored Uruguay's first ever World Cup goal. Then the final against Argentina. In the 89th minute, the one-armed striker headed in the 4th, the last goal of the inaugural World Cup, sealing Uruguay's crown. A man missing a limb, lifting a nation. Number 5. Ricardo Zamora. Born in Barcelona in 1901, Ricardo Zamora was El Divino, the Divine One, the goalkeeper in the flat cap and white roll-neck sweater who redefined the position. In 1929, he played on despite a fractured sternum as Spain beat England 4-3, the first side outside the British Isles to do it. Then the Civil War. In 1936, newspapers reported him killed. But Zamora was alive, imprisoned, and helped by guards who admired him as a footballer. He outlived the rumor of his own death. Number 6. František Plánička. Born in Prague in 1904, František Plánička was the Cat of Prague, a goalkeeper whose reflexes and agility defied his small frame. A Slavia Prague legend, he captained Czechoslovakia to the 1934 World Cup final, falling narrowly to Italy. In 1938, against Brazil, he broke his arm, yet played on through extra time. The injury helped end his career. In all those years, he was never once booked. Named the World Cup's best keeper and a model of fair play. Number 7. Silvio Piola. Born in Robbio, in the province of Pavia, in 1913, Silvio Piola became one of the deadliest strikers football has ever seen. In the 1938 World Cup final, he scored twice as Italy beat Hungary 4-2, champions for a second straight time. In 1939, he punched a goal past England with his fist, a hand of God 47 years before Maradona. War stole years from his prime. Still, he retired as Serie A's all-time top scorer, 274 goals, a record unbroken to this day. Number 8. Giuseppe Meazza. Born in Milan in 1910, fatherless young, Giuseppe Meazza rose from the streets to become Il Balilla, Italy's finest pre-war footballer. He won the World Cup in 1934, later recognized as the tournament's best player, then captained Italy to a second crown in 1938. In that semi-final, his shorts elastic snapped mid-penalty. Meazza held them up with one hand and calmly scored. Today, Milan's San Siro officially bears his name, the Stadio Giuseppe Meazza, a genius set in stone. Number 9. Domingos da Guia. Born in Rio de Janeiro in 1912, Domingos da Guia was O Divino Mestre, the Divine Master, and one of football's first cultured defenders. In an era of brute force defending, he dribbled, passed, and carried the ball out from the back. Elegance few had seen before. He won domestic titles across Brazil, Argentina, and Uruguay. At the 1938 World Cup, he was later remembered as one of the tournament's finest defenders. His son Ademir became a Palmeiras legend too, the same divine bloodline. Number 10. Ștefan Dobay. Born in 1909, Ștefan Dobay became one of Romania's deadliest forwards, famed for galloping runs and a thunderbolt of a shot. For Repentia Timișoara, the great Banat club, he was unstoppable. 130 league goals, and the league's top scorer 4 times over. He starred at both the 1934 and 1938 World Cups, scoring in each, becoming the first Romanian to score at 2 World Cups. That record stood for 6 decades, until Dan Petrescu matched it. The Thunderbolt of Timișoara. Number 11. Ernest Wilimowski. Born in Katowice in 1916, then part of the German Empire, Ernest Wilimowski was a goal-scoring phenomenon. At the 1938 World Cup, he made history. The first man to score 4 goals in a single World Cup match. And still, somehow, Poland lost 6-5 to Brazil after extra time. Then war shattered everything. Under occupation, the Silesian registered as German, and to post-war Poland became a traitor, erased from its football history. A 4-goal hero his own country tried to forget. Number 12, Leônidas da Silva. Born in Rio de Janeiro in 1913, Leônidas da Silva was O Diamante Negro, the Black Diamond, Brazil's first global superstar years before Pelé. He dazzled the world with the bicycle kick, a move so audacious referees reportedly questioned if it was legal. At the 1938 World Cup, he was top scorer, 7 goals, including a hat trick against Poland, where he reportedly played briefly without one boot in the mud. But his coach rested him for the semi-final, perhaps saving him for a final Brazil never reached. Brazil lost to Italy. Number 13, Oldřich Nejedlý. Born in 1909, Oldřich Nejedlý starred for Sparta Prague, becoming one of its great goal scorers. At the 1934 World Cup in Italy, the inside forward caught fire. A hat trick against Germany fired Czechoslovakia into the final. They lost to the hosts, but Nejedlý led the scoring. Decades later, FIFA recounted his goals to 5, crowning him the tournament's outright top scorer. In 1990, Nejedlý died during a World Cup, once again hosted by Italy, the very stage of his 1934 glory. Number 14, György Sárosi. Born in Budapest in 1912, György Sárosi was no ordinary footballer. They called him Dr. Sárosi. He earned his doctorate while still playing. A one-club man at Ferencváros, he was football's great all-rounder. Deadly striker, creative midfielder, commanding center half. He mastered almost every role. In 1938, he captained Hungary to the World Cup final, scoring 5 goals across the tournament, including one against Italy in the final. Hungary fell, but Sárosi's brilliance endured. Scholar, captain, genius of the pitch. Number 15, Pietro Rava. Born in Piedmont in 1916, Pietro Rava was a commanding fullback, the rock of Juventus and Italy, alongside Alfredo Foni. In 1936, Olympic gold in Berlin. 2 years later, the World Cup, one of only 4 Italian players ever to win both, and earning a place in the 1938 team of the tournament. Legend says Mussolini wired the team win or die before the final. Rava put it to rest. It never happened. The dictator only wished them well. The last survivor of Italy's 1938 champions, he lived to 90. Number 16, Eraldo Monzeglio. Born in Piedmont in 1906, Eraldo Monzeglio was one of Italy's finest defenders, a composed, reliable full-back for Bologna and Roma. He achieved what almost no one has: back-to-back World Cups, winning in 1934 and again in 1938, and earning a place in the 1934 team of the tournament. But his name carries a shadow. Monzeglio was a close friend of Mussolini, even serving as the dictator's personal coach. A champion twice over, forever entwined with a darker history. Number 17, Luis Monti. Born in Buenos Aires in 1901, Luis Monti was football's fearsome enforcer. Doble ancho, double wide, a center half who terrified opponents. In 1930, he played the first World Cup final for Argentina, reportedly under death threats. Argentina lost to Uruguay. Then, as an Italian oriundo, he did the unthinkable, reaching the 1934 final for Italy. This time reportedly threatened by Mussolini's regime if they failed to win. And win, they did. The only man to play 2 World Cup finals for 2 nations. Number 18, José Nasazzi. Born in Montevideo in 1901, the defender they called El Gran Mariscal, the Great Marshal, commanded Uruguay's golden generation. Olympic gold in 1924 and 1928. Then came 1930, the first ever World Cup, staged on home soil in Montevideo, the final against Argentina. Down 2-1 at halftime. Nasazzi led his men back to a 4-2 win and was later recognized as the tournament's finest player. He became the first captain in history to receive the World Cup trophy. Number 19, Matthias Sindelar. Born in 1903 to a Czech family in Moravia, Matthias Sindelar grew up in Vienna's working-class Favoriten district. He was der Papieren, the paperman, seemingly too slight to be a footballer, yet the genius at the heart of Austria's legendary Wunder team. When the Nazis annexed Austria in 1938, he refused to play for Germany. In a so-called reconciliation match, legend says he scored and celebrated before the Nazi elite. Months later, he was found dead at just 35. Carbon monoxide. Accident? Suicide? Murder? The mystery endures. Number 20, Alexandre Villaplane. Born in Algiers in 1904, he became the first player of North African origin to represent France. On July 13, 1930, he captained Les Bleus in the first World Cup match, a 4-1 win over Mexico. He called it the happiest day of his life. Then the fall, match fixing, prison, and under Nazi occupation, collaborating with the occupying forces and leading the brutal North African Brigade. In December 1944, a firing squad. Disgraced. That's 20 legends of the early World Cup, brought back to life. If you enjoyed it, hit like and share it with a fellow football fan. We'll see you in the next one.